boot camps in data science and AI. And we actually work on upskilling youth in Pakistan. Today, very excitedly, I am it's my great privilege and honor to be here and to talk to Saad. I think for someone मेरे साथ तेरा बहुत सारे आप सब लोग भी your inner child must be feeling validated right now. हम भी जब Google searches, small Google searches करते होते थे जब छोटे होते थे, yeah, Gmail as my only mode of communication with my friends. So my inner child feels very validated, and I'm very fascinated to be talking to Saad. But our very own Saad Hamid, he's a growth manager at Google. And as Naveed Saab says, our co-founder, that he's one of the most inspirational tech graduates and enthusiasts Pakistan has ever produced, and very proudly many followed his footsteps later. So very excitedly, I'm not going to take a lot of time. I'm going to start right away with Saad. And I would request you, Saad, to please tell us a little about your role at Google right now and what inspired you to be here where you are today. So we'll start from there.
Perfect. Thanks, Ikra. I hope everyone can hear me fine. Very excited to be here. Thanks to you for being very consistent in reaching out and following up. And uske alawa, I think all the Atom Camp team as well for creating this opportunity for like creating a bridge between professionals and young people, which has always been one of the challenges, but also an opportunity for young Pakistani tech talent, regardless of whether they are coders or data scientists or in any field, like anyone related to tech. So thank you for bringing this as a platform together. And it's my honor, again, to see all of the young people here and meet them. I used to be one of them in a way, like I have an inner child as well, so I still am one of you guys, going through that phase and having been through that phase. So I'll maybe go back to what you asked, sharing a little bit about the journey and what role currently I have with Google. And there are a lot of other things which I'll not mention. So what I've tried to do is I've tried to crafted like very specific notes for each of the questions, so I can give you specific directional advice as compared to random blabberings that are coming to my mind. So Google की पहले बात करते हैं. मेरे केस में my first interaction with Google would as a company would be as, and this is something that I've not maybe shared a lot, or maybe I've shared it but maybe not in a lot of forums, तो शायद लोगों को इतना ज़्यादा ना पता हो, but I was a customer of Google. I was a client to Google back in the days, but this is like way back. I don't even know in terms of years how far that would be, but this would be 2005 2007. So way back, almost अगर मैं अंदाजा लगाऊं तो कोई 18 साल या इस तरह कुछ हो जाते हैं. I was very young back then. I was a very young kid. And I'm pretty sure some of you would be like very young at that stage. So that was my first interaction, because there was a product by Google which is still active called AdSense, which helps publishers monetize their content. So I was a user of this product. So I used to publish content, and I used to make money from it. So that's how I got in the radar of Google. There's this young guy in Pakistan who is using this product to monetize himself and make money out of it. So that was my first kind of interaction with Google as a company. मतलब Google की हमने न्यूज़ तो उस वक्त सुनी हुई थी. 2005 2007 is very early stages of Google. तो अभी फोन भी नहीं आया उनका, अभी मोबाइल डिवाइसेस भी नहीं आई. It's like web, all web platforms. And I was one of the users of that particular product, which was very prominent in Pakistan. So that's my first interaction. वहाँ से फिर I got to know at that time one of the country managers who was managing Pakistan, and he introduced me to this program which is known as the Google Developer Groups. So I went to one of the events, and then started my own Google Developer Group chapter. So GDG जिसको हम short में कहते हैं. So I volunteered and started the chapter in 2012. So that's how I got into volunteering. I was very interested to see कि अच्छा यार ये Google की जो technologies हैं ये लोग कैसे यूज कर रहे हैं. I would want to meet other people who are using these technologies. I would want to showcase to them how these technologies are used. So it's like a fun way of getting together with people who are using the same product as you're using. So that like क्योंकि उस जमाने में ये influencer और ये सारा कुछ तो नहीं होता था, this is like a very much a new thing now. So it was very much Facebook भी नहीं होता था, like Facebook was very initial in that days. I remember I'm one of the first users on Twitter from Pakistan. So if you go and see my profile, you'll see that, because Twitter shows you, how much time you've been on. Like this is 2007. So one of the early users of Twitter in Pakistan. So very much into tech, was doing all of these things, and decided to start like a Google developer group as a volunteer. And then wahan se I found this very interesting program which was known as Google Developer Expert, in which Google takes you through a very rigorous training program, and you become an expert on a particular Google technology. So my expertise was monetization, analytics, and to tell you very honestly, मतलब इतना ज़्यादा मुझे इन चीज़ों का पता नहीं था, लेकिन because I had done a project, like I had launched a website, तो थोड़ा बहुत I had like moved around things, एक दो clicks करके मुझे थोड़ा सा idea था कि इन चीज़ों को use कैसे करते हैं, even though I was not an expert in it. So that was my other volunteering experience with Google. And then from there, what happened was that there was a role that opened up in 2018 के almost end में 2018 के end में, in which they wanted a community manager to come in and manage communities for Pakistan, because they were seeing a lot of growth. So that's how I actually got hired at first. So I was working remotely for Google from Pakistan for almost 2 years. And my core job was that I was a developer community manager. So what does a developer community manager do? They try to bring together people who are using a specific technology to learn more, and it's a win-win for both parties. Like in this case, Google obviously wants कि यार इससे ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा लोग technologies को use करें, whether it's Java, Kotlin, Flutter, any of the Google technologies. Just like any company, that's what they want, कि यार ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा technology को use करें users, and they build great products out of it. At the same time, it's a way to empower the community. So if you see Google developer groups, they are very much active still in Pakistan, even after all these years, because they impart value to those communities. So it was a very amazing role for me, because I got to meet so many people, I got to learn so much myself. और इसमें काफ़ी बीच में चीज़ें हैं जो मैं आपको अभी नहीं बता रहा, because I had a career before that as well. I had a job before that, and I had launched a company before that, but this seemed like the opportunity where I wanted to be. So I joined that role as a developer community manager. And after 2 years, there was another role that opened up on the business side, and I've never worked on the business side in my life. I'm an engineering graduate, like I'm an electrical engineering graduate who has never done business, who has never done sales. But there was I got invited to be a part of क्या उसको कहेंगे, like a pool of candidates who were interviewing for a particular role, in which they had to grow the business for Google for apps and games in Pakistan, and eventually I got hired for that. So that's when I moved to Singapore almost 2 years back, and recently, just in the previous cycle, I got promoted as well. So I that was a moment of reflection for me, like on a personal level, anything's possible, because I have never in my life thought of business or looked it from that angle, even though I had started a startup before. But eventually, with the right kind of mindset and some skills that I'll be talking to you about, you can get to places. But yeah, that's a short form summary of how I landed in the current role. Current role में मैं करता क्या हूँ ये थोड़ा सा मैं बता देता हूँ, because obviously people sometimes when they read the title they're not really sure कि यार अच्छा ये है क्या, what is a growth manager. So what we do is we go to any app developer or any game developer in Pakistan, and we tell them कि use Google Ads as a product to grow your user base. So an example of this is I would go to a client of mine who's maybe based in Islamabad, and they've built this really amazing generative AI app, and they want to acquire users from, let's say, the United States. So I will help them do the business modeling. I'll tell them how to use Google Ads. I'll tell them how to use टेक्निकल उसकी जो एनालिटिक्स हैं उसको कैसे यूज करना है, सही यूजर को टारगेट कैसे करना है. तो माय एक्सपर्टीज इज यूजर एक्विजिशन, एंड माय जॉब इज टू हेल्प those customers invest more money so they can make more money. So it's a very kind of a symbiotic relationship where we have seen very there's a correlation between how much you invest and how much money you can actually make. So it's not just about, it's not one sided कि यार अच्छा अगर आपने जो है ना Google Ads में you're investing money so you'll not get anything out of it. We have seen so much growth in Pakistan with the right kind of idea and right kind of team that companies overnight, I would say, have become $1 million companies. And these companies are maybe among you or people among you, but you've not seen them through that lens because I work in that business. So ab mera lens thoda sa change ho gaya, so I can see that. But this is why we see Pakistan is such a big opportunity because people have the opportunity to build some amazing products using the skills that are already out there, जो हैं हमारी market में, and then acquire users from higher value markets like US, UK, Australia, and to be able to build a business out of it. So I personally feel very very excited every time that I go to work every day. Although it's like very very demanding, very tough, most of the time very stressful as well, but I think there's so much opportunity to learn, grow, and at the same time grow the market, which for me, I'm luckily from Pakistan, so that's my market, and as well as grow Google and be a part of that growth. So that's like a kind of a summary of my journey and my role at Google right now.
This is very interesting, Saad, and also very inspiring. मुझे आपके बारे में जब मैं first time, obviously we have seen you a lot of times. आप बहुत सारी चीजें करते रहते हैं पाकिस्तान में. But when I came and I saw you in person, and when you were talking about your life and work life and all, as well as academic life at the same time, it was super inspiring. Like it got me thinking. I came home and I was constantly thinking about it. How inspiring it is for us and for our youth to have people like yourself to look up to and people they can also relate to. So my second question is related to that, that what is that mindset or those skills that you would, encourage youth to have in order to kickstart their career in any sort of tech role or international job? So if you could please talk a little about that.
Yes, yes. Thanks, Ikra, for that question. Or again, the benefit of having these questions in advance was that I was able to like really reflect over the couple of days and create a framework. So मैंने अपने पास बड़े अच्छे से notes बनाए हुए, so I just don't go off board. लेकिन I think so I was really thinking about this कि यार अच्छा अगर young लोगों को बताना हो कि आप ये करें, because you get a lot of advice from everywhere. अच्छा क्या करें, But one thing I've learned in Google is that frameworks really help. So for this, I'm going to give you a framework. And frameworks, Angrezi mein ek hai. I hope I'm able to, translate that into Urdu. But frameworks basically are, are a way in which your intuition, you're able to package your intuition. So that's why I love frameworks. Whenever you're trying to learn something or give advice to someone or share something, so our brain works very much into frameworks, so that's what I'm going to share. So and there's a really funny example on this because हमारे पाकिस्तानी context में इसको बहुत बुरा समझा जाता है, right? When you say कि अच्छा यार तुम उल्लू हो या कोई किसी को कहता है यार तुम उल्लू हो, so that's supposed to be a bad thing because ullu is supposed to be bad or whatever. Although owls are like so, some of the wisest animals out there and wisest birds. So the framework I have for this is owl. And the way I explain this is you start with the O. So O for me is obsessive ownership. Like you have to and we're talking about foundational skills or mindsets, for people to be successful in their career. So you have to be very, very obsessed with taking ownership of the task that has been assigned to you. और ये एक चीज है जो automatically, this kind of I think surfaces the more capable people as compared to the lesser capable people. क्योंकि जो ownership ज़्यादा लेगा, that person is more hungry. जो ownership ज़्यादा लेगा, that person will learn more. जो ownership ज़्यादा लेगा, that person is able to move fast. So I think the first thing, the foundational skill is that you have to take obsessive ownership of something that you're learning or some task that you have been assigned. So I think that's like a foundational skill, and I do think to some extent हमारे culture में, in fact बाकी cultures में भी, people lack this very basic skill, which is like being very very obsessive towards one thing and then taking responsibility end to end. मतलब it should not be like यार अच्छा मैंने अपना काम कर दिया. This is something I have heard a lot from sometimes when I work with not my clients but more like young people in Pakistan कि यार अच्छा हमने ये कर दिया है या ये हो गया है. It's not about कि मैंने कर दिया है. It's about कि whether the problem which was out there was solved or not. Just because आपने अपना काम कर दिया है does not mean the problem got solved. So having that bigger picture view of obsessive ownership कि यार अच्छा वाकई में ये मसला फिर भी solve हुआ है कि नहीं हुआ, that's super important to know. The second one is the W, so it's OWL, OWL. The second one is W. W is being a wayfinder. So W say wayfinder. Wayfinder क्या करता है कि wayfinder is someone who's able to lead, somebody who's able to show others the way, and somebody who's able to show others through documentation कि मैंने ये किया उससे ये हुआ and this is what you can learn from it. So wayfinders are very good with swimming across the ocean, and they're able to find कि यार अच्छा ये हुआ ये नहीं होगा, and they are very good in communication because they are wayfinders. So being a wayfinder is like super important because these folks are very good with communicating what they are trying to find, what they are trying to do. I think इसमें जो सबसे important factor है वो है communication का, कि आप जो भी कर रहे हैं क्या अगलों को पता है कि आपने ये क्यों किया, do they understand your thought process, those kind of things. So W is for the wayfinder and the L is the the learning attitude, which is a very much like cliche सब लोग कहते हैं, लेकिन लर्निंग एटीट्यूड में ये जरूरी नहीं है कि आपने उससे सीखा कितना, हर कोई कहता है मुझे बड़ी लर्निंग की आदत है, मुझे सीखने की बहुत आदत है, but it is about like valuing feedback and showing validation of that feedback. अगर आपको किसी ने feedback दिया है, ठीक है, आप कहेंगे यार मैं तो feedback ले लिया, but how would the other person know कि you've taken that feedback? So there are ways in which you show validation of the feedback that you've received. You close loops, you go back to that person and be like, अच्छा आपने उस time पे मुझे ये कहा था, and this is what I worked on. People love this. People love when they give you feedback and you close the loop on that feedback. यार अच्छा आपने ये feedback दिया, I went back and I worked on this. Or learning attitude में एक और point आ जाता है, working with others, like making sure that you work with the diverse kind of people with whom you can, even if their chemistry is different or whatever. So I think the framework on foundational skills that I would have is this one: OWL, obsessive ownership, being a wayfinder, and then having a learning attitude.
आई रिमेम्बर आपने ये वाला, जब मैं आपको फास्ट में मैंने जब आपने इस बारे में बात की थी, सो आई स्टिल हैड दोस इन माय नोट्स, आपने इस फ्रेमवर्क के बारे में बात की थी, एंड इट्स एक्चुअली वेरी वेरी हेल्पफुल इफ यू एक्चुअली इम्प्लीमेंट दैट इन योर प्रोफेशनल एंड एज वेल एज पर्सनल लाइफ। और एक और जो अभी आपने बात की है कि आप नोट्स बना रहे थे एंड यू वर एक्चुअली थिंकिंग कि क्या जवाब देना है, सो आई ऑल्सो अगेन फील वैलिडेटेड दैट आई हैव ऑल्सो बीन प्रिपेयरिंग नोट्स एंड स्टफ दैट oh what are the questions and how am I going to frame them. My next question, जिसने अभी आपने बात की है कि this framework it is very important, तो थोड़ा सा हम हायरिंग प्रोसेस के बारे में भी बात करते हैं। जैसे आपका सिर्फ गूगल नहीं, आप बहुत ज्यादा, बिकॉज क्योंकि ट्रैवल भी करते हैं, बहुत जगहों पे भी जाते हैं, तो आप थोड़ा इस बारे में बताएं कि व्हाट इज दैट हायरिंग क्राइटेरिया international companies and also Google look for when they're hiring fresh grads or people who are not a lot have a lot of experience or do not have a lot of things on their resume to show. तो उसके ऊपर अगर आप थोड़ा सा बताएं.
Sure. I love this question because I recently got an opportunity to like be in a space in which I'm interviewing candidates for one of the program at Google. So it feels very full circle for me because I've actually जब मैं Google में when I was interviewing, this wasn't my first time. This was actually my I think third or fourth time. So I've actually flunked Google interviews before, and now being able to get at a position where I'm interviewing other candidates. So it kind of feels full circle that I've learned a lot of things and there's so much to learn. But overall, without revealing a lot about the interview process, but I can give you like a general framework of what international companies are looking for, in new candidates. Is ek to they're looking for, I think one core piece is they're looking for problem solving. So problem solving में they're looking for I think जो ज़्यादा मैंने एक challenge देखा है with Pakistani students is not that they are not able to solve the problems, is that they are not able to communicate what is going on in their head. And for anyone who wants to hire you or wants to work with you, they are not really concerned about आपके आपके दिमाग में क्या चल रहा है. They are concerned about आप उसको बताते कैसे हैं कि आपके दिमाग में क्या चल रहा है. So most of the time they are interested to know कि यार do you really understand if a problem statement has been given to you. Like for example, if I give a very open-ended statement to you right now कि जी अच्छा इस product को हमने 5x grow करना है इस market में, so how does your brain actually work? And how do you present those solutions? How do you create validation for your solution? Now, for example, मैं कहूँ कि यार अच्छा ये कर सकते हैं, इससे ये solution हो जाएगा. But how do you validate? How do you give evidence that what you said makes sense? and at the end, communicating very clearly and being able to show how you set your priorities. Because एक question जो आपको कहीं भी पूछा जाएगा वो ये है कि how do you prioritize, your work, how do you prioritize tasks. So I think that's one thing. So एक तो पूरा bucket है वो जो है problem solving prioritization. The second bucket is more around teamwork. How do you value feedback? How do you make sure your ethics are not compromised? And how do you show care for the team? And all these things can be showed, can be exhibited by very good clear thought process. अगर आपने वाकई में इन चीज़ों पे काम किया और अगर आपने रिफ्लेक्ट किया हुआ है कि यार अच्छा मैंने जो है ना पिछले 6 महीने में ये प्रोजेक्ट किया था, दिस इज व्हाट आई लर्न, एंड इस पे बड़ा ज़बरदस्त एक फ्रेमवर्क है विच इज़ नोन एज द स्टार फ्रेमवर्क. सो सिचुएशन, टास्क, एक्शन, रिजल्ट. So you think about मैंने क्या किया, क्यों किया, what was the task at hand, what action did I take, and what was the result. So overall the second bucket is the teamwork, and the last one is I think leadership, where they want to see कि यार इस बंदे को अगर हम कुछ कहें ना तो क्या ये बैठा तो नहीं रहेगा, will this person actually get the work done. Because one thing that I've seen a lot, and this is not just in Pakistan but overall worldwide ज़्यादा, लेकिन अगेन शायद जो है ना पाकिस्तान में भी ज़रा इसको ज़्यादा देखा जाता है, वो ये है कि अगर मैं आपको काम, फॉर एग्जाम्पल थिंक अबाउट दिस, कि अगर आपका मैनेजर आपको 1 हफ्ते तक काम ना दे या 2 हफ्ते तक ना दे, 3 हफ्ते तक ना दे, तो क्या आप बैठे रहेंगे, और विल यू मेक एन एफर्ट टू रीच आउट टू देम एंड बी लाइक हे आई डोंट हैव इनफ ऑन माय प्लेट, सो कैन यू गिव मी. So proactiveness is like super super important, and showing that you are really team player. So I think overall when any company is hiring you, show all of this, and show all of this by example, not by कि यार अच्छा ये हो सकता है या ये हो जाएगा या मैं कर दूंगा. इनफैक्ट शोइंग एविडेंस कि पिछली मेरी जॉब में एक ये मसला आया था, इस वाले रोल में मैंने ये किया, उसकी वजह से ये हुआ, ये मैंने सीखा. Because people, going back to people believe you when you show evidence, and people believe you when you show structured thought process. As long as you do these things, I think any company in the world, like not just Google, tech companies, any other company in the world would be very very happy to have a candidate who kind of follows this overall structure.
This is, I think, extremely helpful और आपने इतनी अच्छी तरह उसको explain भी किया है. It seems very easy. But as जितना ये easy लगता है जब we see कि you're at Google, you're doing so many fascinating things. We're fascinated that we're able to talk to people who are working at Google. But I understand that it's not easy. And with this ever evolving, tech landscape, and with so many advancements in technologies, you also have to stay up to date and prioritize what you're learning, what skills you are learning. So आपको क्या लगता है कि in your current role, what are the skills? How do you stay up to date, and how do you prioritize कि अब कौन सी tools हैं जिनके ऊपर आपको काम करना चाहिए या सीखना चाहिए?
Sure, thanks. Very interesting question again, and I was trying to create a narrative on how to address this as well. So I think first एक चीज जो यहाँ पे like a lot of people should think about is that why do you learn something, क्योंकि obviously आजकल वो काफी ट्रेंड है कि यार अच्छा ये सीख लो, वो सीख लो, कोई नई टेक्नोलॉजी आ रही है वो सीख लो. There's a lot of trendy stuff on AI. My wife was asking me yesterday कि यार अच्छा वो chat gpt या AI है, should I learn it, but मुझे करना चाहिए, she was going through the same question. And I think for this as well there needs to be a very clear framework over why do you learn something. So it goes back to I think big picture thinking. So जो मेरे ज़हन में कुछ चीज़ें आई हैं, and again whatever I'm sharing with you, these are not right or wrong answers, these are basically my own reflections on how I navigate the world. Might not work for you, you might not agree with it, so that's perfectly fine. My job is to share that thought process of how I think about these things. So पहले आप कोई चीज़ इसलिए सीखते हैं, you learn something new because you want to upskill yourself, एक रीज़न ये होती है. दूसरी चीज़ आपको इसलिए सीखते हैं because you have an interest, आपने कहीं सीखा होता है, आपने ट्राई किया होता है, आपको अच्छी लगी होती है चीज़, आप सीख लेते हैं. फिर एक आप इसलिए चीज़ सीखते हैं कि क्योंकि वो ट्रेंडी है, आपने काफ़ी लोगों से सुना कि यार ये कर लो वो कर लो. ये बिल्कुल उसी तरह है जिस तरह माय फादर पुश्ड मी इनटू टेलीकॉम इंजीनियरिंग बिकॉज ही हैड हर्ड कि यार अच्छा ये इट्स वन ऑफ द ट्रेंड्स दीज डेज इन 2006 और 7. सो मैंने उसमें आई गॉट इनटू दैट. उस वक्त मैं इतनी रिफ्लेक्शंस नहीं करता था, आई डिड नॉट हैव अ फ्रेमवर्क और थिंग्स टू थिंक अबाउट. बट दिस इज यूजुअली इट्स लाइक you want to upskill yourself, you have an interest, or you think it's trendy. But I think what's most important is that when you learn something, you should be able to see your potential in creating value out of it for yourself or for others. तो और ये मुझे बहुत बाद में लाइफ में चीज रियलाइज हुई थी इंट्यूशनली आई वाज लकी इनफ दैट आई वाज डूइंग इट I just did not reflect enough to be able to give you a very, very simple answer that I'm able to give you to right now. Okay, I was all of doing all of these things not just because they were upskilling or interest or trendy, but because I saw like that I would be able to create value for myself, or I would be able to create value for some other people out there. तो एसेंशियली अगर आप कोई भी प्रोडक्ट प्लेटफॉर्म टेक्नोलॉजी या स्किल सीखते हैं, you learn it because you want to solve a problem for yourself or for somebody else, and that actually creates that value. So point मेरा ये है इसको कहने का कि इसके लिए अपना एक फ्रेमवर्क बनाएं कि what value do you want to create, and what you want to do. अब कुछ एग्जांपल्स मैं आपको देता हूँ जो आजकल बड़े बज़वर्ड्स हैं जो चल रहे हैं. क्लाउड कंप्यूटिंग है, साइबर सिक्योरिटी है, डेटा साइंस है, मशीन लर्निंग है, ब्लॉकचेन है. अब सवाल ये आ जाता है कि अच्छा आप मैं अगर सीख भी लूँ चैट जीपीटी, मैं उससे क्या वैल्यू क्रिएट करूंगा फॉर माई सेल्फ, एंड मैं उससे क्या वैल्यू क्रिएट करूंगा फॉर समबडी एल्स. If I'm not able to create that value, I think there's a very big disconnect between what you're learning, because at the end of the day people care about what value you were able to create for them. That's why they hire you, that's why you do work. That's how the world actually works. For giving you my personal example, so I've been affiliated to this product which is called WordPress for a very long period of time. So मेरा इस पे DG skills पे course भी है. I started a company which was doing WordPress services. I was a WordPress trainer as well, and it started with the same questions कि यार अच्छा upskill करता हूँ मैं अपने आप को, ये सीख लेता हूँ, मुझे interest भी लग रहा है, trendy भी है. But I think eventually what I was able to surface from that is what value I can create for myself and for my clients or partners or anything else that I was doing from that. तो वो अगर missing piece आपको मिल जाता है value वाला, and you have to think more on it, that's like the sweet spot. And that's what you have to think about before you decide कि अच्छा आपने क्या जो है ना skill, technology, platform, product. I call it PPTS, which is product, platform, technology skill आपने जो है ना सीखनी है. For me now, it is Google Ads, it is Firebase, it's Google Analytics, all of the Google products. Because I was able to do the same कि when I was working at Google, I was able to find कि यार, and I had the same challenge. मैंने कहा यार अच्छा मैं Google Ads सीख भी लूँ, तो मुझे क्या फायदा, मेरे clients को क्या फायदा. तो I had to like really think about, and this is where Google is really good to give you frameworks to see what value you can create. So it's learning anything is about value creation. So you have to really think about कि किस तरह का प्रोडक्ट आपने सीखना है, उसकी ग्लोबल मार्केट में क्या डिमांड है, इज इट समथिंग दैट यू लाइक डूइंग इट वेल एज वेल और नॉट. लेकिन मैंने ये देखा है कि करंट जो ग्लोबल सिनेरियो है उसमें जितना ज्यादा आप जल्दी किसी टेक्नोलॉजी प्रोडक्ट से एफिलिएट हो जाएंगे, your chances of success are very, very high, and you will see that in if you go on LinkedIn, if you go anywhere else, आप you take out the profile of anyone, like कोई भी एक बंदा जिसको आप सक्सेसफुल कहते हैं या who has a lot of professional experience, you will see कि वो किसी ना किसी टेक प्रोडक्ट के साथ एफिलिएटेड है, ये उसको इवेंजुलाइज कर रहा है. So this is something I've seen a lot कि the sooner you can affiliate yourself to a product, क्या था मेरा framework, हाँ, product, platform, technology or skill, the sooner you can get yourself attached with it, the higher there is a probability that you will be able to move up in your career really fast, because you will be able to position yourself, develop your personal brand, as compared to being like a journal person for everyone. क्योंकि आजकल प्रोडक्ट प्लेटफॉर्म सर्विसेज इतने ज़्यादा हो गए हैं स्किल्स कि देयर इज मोर कंपटीशन. सो पीपल आर कंपनीज आर लुकिंग फॉर मोर पीपल टू सपोर्ट who are more affiliated with one particular product, platform, skill or technology. Yes.
I think that's again very helpful. Just आपने पूरा explain किया. It takes me back to what you said, Saad, initially कि जब आप Google पे गए थे, तो तब इतना इसके बारे में बात नहीं होती थी, and not a lot of people knew about this. And even for our generation and now the generation that are coming after us, उनके लिए it is more accessible कि बहुत सारे platforms हैं. atomcamp पे हम भी ये try करते हैं कि हम जितने mentors को, जितने लोगों को who have inspirational stories हम लेके आ सकें directly, people can talk to them, see them. I think they can draw inspiration for them. तो जिस तरह आपने बताया कि आपकी बार जब आप गूगल में गए थे तो तब इतना इसके बारे में बात नहीं होती थी. नाउ व्हाट डू यू थिंक दैट what roles mentor can play, what roles people who have actually made it big in their lives or who have landed their dream roles, what roles they can play for people, और उनको reach out करना चाहिए जो भी हमारी ऑडियंस है जो सुन रहे हैं आपको, आप उनको क्या गाइड करेंगे? शुड दे रीच आउट टू देम, शुड दे आस्क पीपल फॉर एडवाइस? बिकॉज हम काफी हेजिटेंट होते हैं व्हेन वी नीड हेल्प फ्रॉम समवन, स्पेसिफिकली इन रिगार्ड्स टू मेंटरशिप.
Yes, excellent question, I would say. Or I'm sorry, I keep checking on the voice thing because यहाँ पे हवा ज़रा तेज चल रही है, so I don't know if there is any disturbance, but I hope everyone can hear me fine. So I think it's I was looking for a way to describe this. So I think one of the greatest values of mentors is the ability to see ahead what others cannot see and help them navigate a course to their destination. So this is what mentors do. But mentors cannot and should not define your life. And mentors, and you should not outsource your zindagi ke masle to your mentors. That's another one. And also not feel entitled when reaching out to mentors. But it's super important to have mentorship, because they can help you see through problems. They can help you introduce you to other people. But it's important to have like very diverse set of mentors, because agar aap ek you reach out to me for example and you say कि अच्छा मैंने Google Ads पे paid marketing सीखनी है, तो मैं कहूँगा obviously I'm biased towards Google, मैं कहूँगा यार Google Ads yes is the perfect one, please use it. But then if you don't have any other mentor who can talk about meta advertising, Facebook advertising, or even TikTok advertising, you'll never be able to see the contrast. So it's important while finding mentors to have mentors who can help you see that overall contrast. So that's one thing. The other thing is that mentors might have seen similar roads, but they are not you. So at the end of the day, it's your job to make your decisions, and you are responsible for your own actions. So ये एक और बड़ी important चीज़ है when it comes to finding mentors. But mentorship is like super super important. And my suggestion is on finding building long term relationship with your mentors. और mentor को क्या चाहिए? Mentor को चाहिए clear communication. क्लियर कम्युनिकेशन का ये मतलब है कि आप एक चीज़ कहते हैं कि अच्छा मैं ये करूँगा, मेंटर ने आपको एडवाइस दी है, उसके बाद आप गायब हो गए हैं या वो कन्वर्सेशन लूप कभी क्लोज नहीं हुआ. तो पीपल आर ऑलवेज जस्ट लाइक यू डू अ करीम राइड, और वो जो इन ड्राइवर की राइड है और उसके बाद आप रेट करते हैं ना ड्राइवर को, उसी तरह मेंटर्स भी आपको रेट कर रहे होते हैं, बिकॉज मेंटर्स हैव अ लॉट ऑफ मेंटीज. So they and you have an opportunity to rate your mentor as well in your own mind कि यार अच्छा ये mentor था, इसने ये कहा, ये validate हुआ. So you have to have a very clear communication कि यार अच्छा ये आपने कहा था, ये मैंने किया और ये मैंने नहीं किया for whatever reason, but you need to close the loop. You need to show planning and progress कि यार अच्छा ये चीज़ आपने कही, ये इतनी short term में नहीं हो सकती, तो ये मैं long term पे ज़रा सोच रहा हूँ. And a mentor needs to see that regular connection. And why I say that, because मेरे साथ भी यही होता है कि आई गेट like at this stage I think it's become very difficult for me because LinkedIn recently, I think एक साल पहले मैंने ज़रा open up किया, and then I like developed a big following. I recently crossed like 100 or 10K something people. So it has become mentally impossible for me with my WhatsApp and everything to just keep a track of who I know, who I need to mentor, but I still do it. So I need to any mentor would want to develop that one-on-one deeper connection instead of like just having like surface level depth. तो ये आपके mentors आपसे देखना चाहते हैं like when they are going into like that phase. But I hope on the those are some reflections on the mentorship piece. Yes.
थैंक यू सो मच साद. आई थिंक बिल्डिंग ऑन टू दैट, आपने जो कहा कि कम्युनिकेशन बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होती है एंड यू नीड टू बी वेरी क्लियर इन टर्म्स ऑफ व्हाट यू वांट. और मेंटरशिप की भी ऑब्वियसली बैंडविड्थ होती है, वो इतने ही क्वेश्चन एक दिन में आंसर कर सकते हैं. और क्योंकि अभी पाकिस्तान में अनफॉर्चुनेटली देयर आर पीपल बट वी नीड मेनी मोर पीपल, सो यूर दे मोर एक्सेसिबल एंड दे हैव मोर टाइम टू टॉक टू पीपल. तो बिल्डिंग ऑन टू दैट, कम्युनिकेशन के ऊपर जैसे आपने बात की, तो कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स कितनी इंपॉर्टेंट होती हैं किसी भी रोल के लिए, किसी भी रोल को अचीव करने के लिए, और फिर वो अगर आप रोल अचीव कर लें तो उसको मेंटेन करने के लिए how important it is, and what are the things communication skills, a good communication skills can add to as a person, as a professional. तो आप उसके ऊपर थोड़ा अगर हमें बताएं.
Sure. I think communication is everything, and I cannot stress on this hard enough because every day when I run into a problem at Google, even at this stage, even though I think मैं अभी mid career जो है ना stage hit करने लगा हूँ, every problem more or less comes out to be a communication problem. Whether it's with your manager, whether it's with a client, whether it's with a friend, whether it's with a partner, anything is, comes down to how were you able to manage the communication for it. And isme, some people learn those skills and they're able to मैनेज इट इन अ प्रोएक्टिव मैनर कि यार अच्छा हम पहले बता दें कि ये होने लगा है, या हम डॉक्यूमेंट करें, या हम क्लोज द लूप करें, या किस तरह किसी को बताएं कि हम क्या करते हैं. एंड आई थिंक दो स्किल्स इवेंचुअली यू कैन सी, लाइक मैंने थोड़ी सी इतनी ज़्यादा प्रैक्टिस की बिकॉज इट बिकेम अ पार्ट ऑफ माई हैबिट. सो आई, मुझे काफ़ी ज़्यादा लोग वो इवन तक इट्स रियली फनी बिकॉज एट गूगल एज वेल, because of my LinkedIn profile, like a lot of people reach out, some who are very senior directors and VPs as well, and they really appreciate कि यार अच्छा LinkedIn पे तुम बहुत actively लिखते रहते हो. और वो काफ़ी, आई थिंक एक दो दफ़ा तो मेरे बॉस ने पूछा भी है कि ये तुम पूरा दिन यही करते रहते हो, हाउ डू यू कम अप विद सो मच कंटेंट. So for me it is a habit, like I have developed a habit to communicate. तो मुझे इशू नहीं होता कि मेरे लिए इट्स नॉट अ बिग थिंग कि यार अच्छा मैंने जाके लिंक्डइन पोस्ट लिखनी है, या मैंने ईमेल लिखनी है बहुत लंबी बट उसको बहुत कंसाइज करना है, या मैंने नोट्स लिखने हैं जिस तरह मैंने इस टॉक के लिए भी लिखे हुए हैं. सो आई हैव built in this mechanism. Every single thing that I do will have a very core component of communication and validation. तो फॉर एग्जाम्पल अगर मैं किसी से बात करूँ, एंड दिस हैज़ बिकम टू सम एक्सटेंट annoying as well, क्योंकि मैं घर में भी ये करता हूँ कि I would say कि यार अच्छा हमारी ये बात हुई थी, तो have we written this down, have we had an agreement on this, and I would do this at work a lot. But it really helps because at the end of the day you meet so many people. I think social media is, there's so much noise. How do you make sense of so much stuff that was told to you? Like I know for example कि मैं इस टॉक में जो घंटे में पूरी बातें कर रहा हूँ उसमें से humanly possible you will be able to retain just 3 major points. Now there will be a very few of you जो कि actually उन 3 points को लिखेंगे and they'll reflect on it. बाकी सुनेंगे उसको भूल जाएंगे. So I've again and again applied this framework. It just always works out. And that's why I keep saying कि communication की ये कुछ तरीके हैं कि यार आप लिखें. I write a lot. In fact, Google ने मुझ पे एक article किया था, उसमें मैं one of the tips I gave, which I still do, is for everything I would create a Google Doc. Every single thing. Like I would just start writing notes, put down कि what I'm feeling. अच्छा उसमें से कौन सी चीज़ें जो अलग करनी है, कौन सी चीज़ों पे focus करना है. I think writing is the most beautiful thing. The only difference is कि people, I think now they also do वो जो पेन से लिखते हैं and everything. I think I lost that completely. मैं शायद पेन से लिख भी नहीं सकता at this stage. I just cannot write. मेरी handwriting भी नहीं है. लेकिन I can type a lot. I can type very fast and I can do a lot of notes. And I can also like summarize that and take out. So summarizing information, what people tell you, doing things, closing the loop in terms of communication, telling people कि यार ये होने लगा है, तो this is what I anticipate, या ये मैं करूँगा. और ये आगे एक है पूरा फ्रेमवर्क इसका कि how you can actually think about. और मैं थोड़ा सा इस पे आगे, I think if we get into soft skills, so I have some thoughts on this as well. But overall, like this is what I would say on communication overall. Yeah.
I think again you'd be happy to know कि हमारे at atomcamp we also have this culture कि हम बहुत encourage करते हैं please write and use Google Docs as well. और हम तो I think Google की बहुत सारी apps atomcamp पे use भी करते हैं. But again जिस तरह भी आपने communication skills की बात की और आपने कहा कि there's a lot of noise but you still stand out. We see a lot of posts from Saad Hamid या बहुत एक पाकिस्तान में साद हामिद is very popular because again आप उस relevant बात करते हैं और आप stand out करते हैं क्योंकि आपकी जो बातें that matters and that holds some value. तो मेरा next question उसके ऊपर ये है जो अभी आप अगर soft skills के ऊपर if you would like to talk a little तो आप उसके ऊपर भी कर सकते हैं. But again I wanted to ask one more thing about Google की diversity कितनी है जो Google करता है support करता है and how important it is for young grads to be part of diverse groups to deal with this and to understand how to interact and how to navigate there. तो अगर आप उसके ऊपर थोड़ी सी बात करें.
Perfect. So I'll answer the pehle wala point brief because I think the second question is much more important, which is why is it important to be a part of diverse groups? I think Google में जिस level की मैंने diversity देखी है, I have never seen before. And in my case again, because I'm born and bred in Pakistan, तो वहाँ पे diversity है. It is level की नहीं है, which you see on a global level. So Google is very diverse. teams, we have trainings on this, how to be inclusive. हम इसको DEI कहते हैं, diversity, equity and inclusion. We try to support everyone with all sorts of ideas, wherever background they come from, and I think Google really champions it to the far extent, like goes to an extent to really make this happen. How it does it, वो क्या है, किस तरह से है, वो बड़ी लंबी कहानी है, उस पे आप जाके ऑनलाइन सर्च करेंगे, यूट्यूब पे देखेंगे तो you'll find some examples as well. But I think the second question is like much more important, that needs to be part of answered here. So which is how why it is important for young grads to be a part of diverse teams. I think जो diversity एक चीज ये करती है कि डाइवर्सिटी आपकी जो है फाउंडेशंस को ना हिला देती है, एंड दैट्स आई थिंक द मोस्ट ब्यूटीफुल वे टू लिव लाइफ. क्योंकि होता ये है कि हम जब पाकिस्तान में बड़े हो रहे होते हैं, हम काफ़ी ज़्यादा चीज़ें सीख रहे होते हैं, तो काफ़ी ज़्यादा चीज़ें हमारी फाउंडेशनल होती हैं. फाउंडेशनल ये होती हैं कि यार अच्छा, एंड दिस इज गो, I don't want to get into the specific. It's a lot of things, all the way from gender, all the way from religion, all the way from perception about people. And when you work in diverse groups, it really shakes your core to make you think कि यार अच्छा यार, good ideas can come from anywhere. So it doesn't really matter कि आपसे कोई एज में कम है बड़ा है. It really doesn't matter कि आपसे कोई जेंडर उसका डिफरेंट है. इट रियली डजंट मैटर कि अगर उसका जो है ना रिलीजियस बैकग्राउंड आपका सेम या नहीं है. अगर वो बात वैल्यू की कर रहा है तो वो जहां से भी आता है. ये भी मैं आपको बता दूं कि एट द एंड ऑफ द डे वी आर आल्सो ह्यूमंस, हमारी भी जजमेंट होती है. बिकॉज गूगल में ना इट्स एंड आई डोंट वांट टू गो इनटू द डिटेल्स, बट द कल्चर इज वेरी डाइवर्स. सो सम थिंग्स व्हेन वी कम फ्रॉम एक सर्टेन वो नोशंस रिलीजन एज वेल, तो सम थिंग्स शुरू में जरा आपको शॉक लगता है व्हेन यू सी थिंग्स एंड यू मीट पीपल. But I think that's what Pakistan needs right now. If you look at it, our society is very homogeneous, which is why homogeneous societies, and again not to make it political or everything, but homogeneous society में ना लोग ज़्यादा सीखते नहीं हैं. It becomes like an echo chamber. So anyone who wants to progress really fast, वो ये कहता है कि यार यहाँ पे जो भी बंदा है ना, I'm stuck in a room with any kind of a person, I'll make sure that I value that person's opinion, regardless of wherever that person comes from, whatever gender that person has, whatever religious background they have. And that's why it's very hard to practice. इतना सिंपल नहीं है. लेकिन आई थिंक इसका बेस्ट जो तरीका है ना, ये है कि ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा ट्रैवल करें. और ट्रैवल का ये मतलब नहीं है कि आपको इंटरनेशनल ट्रैवल करना है बहुत ज़्यादा इन्वेस्ट करके. आप पाकिस्तान में निकल जाएं. Just go around Pakistan and try to meet people from different cities, sit with them, work with them, try to understand how they talk, how they work. And then if you have an opportunity to, you can go global as well, travel there. But the more you put yourself in diverse teams, the sooner आपके जो सारे वो है ना, ये जो सारे प्री कंसीव्ड नोशंस, और आपका जो है ना वो, जिस तरह मैं ये कहता हूँ, जिस तरह जब कि ना आपका जरा जो गुस्सा है ना आपके अंदर, वो ठंडा हो जाएगा. जब आपका गुस्सा ठंडा हो जाएगा ना, तब यू विल स्टार्ट टू फोकस ऑन only things that add value to yourself and someone else. I see अभी भी पाकिस्तान में, again I think that's a challenge of how the media is, और जो थोड़ा जिस तरह डिज़ाइन है कि वो काफ़ी फजूल चीज़ें जो है ना टीवी पे लगी होती हैं, या वो यंग लोग डिस्कस कर रहे होते हैं, मुझे नो वैल्यू, लाइक आई पर्सनली बिलीव. तो ये थोड़ा अब आपने दिस इज द चैलेंज कि यू हैव टू रियली फिगर आउट एवरी डे कन्वर्सेशंस कि क्या आपने इसका पार्ट बनना है कि नहीं बनना. And I'm going to quote this example, and I don't mean to say anything. वैसे ही हम, मैं और वाइफ कल बैठे हुए थे, रात को मैं बैठा हुआ था. I usually watch TV a lot, तो मैं देख रहा होता हूँ क्या चल रहा है. उसमें कोई पता नहीं न्यूज़ थी about like some वो कोई शेर आया था कराची में, वो निकल गया, उस पर पूरी काफ़ी एक जो है ना वो चल रही थी. तो now the thing is, it's a news. How do you want to engage in this? Do you want to engage in this from a factor कि यार अच्छा ठीक है, मुझे पता लग गया, आया था, but I don't want to watch a live coverage. I would rather spend my time on something else. So you have to be very mindful over what you're spending time on, and you have to make your decisions, because it's gonna get more messy, not from a perspective of Pakistan, but from a global perspective of social media. My daughter, eldest one, she's almost 10 now. तो उसका भी हम देख रहे होते हैं कि अच्छा यार, what content you're consuming, and what how you think. So the more you can be diverse in terms of even content. Like I'll give you this very interesting example. Even content आप कंज्यूम करते हैं ना, चले मैं आपको एक सिंपल एग्जांपल देता हूँ. लेट्स से कि आपने बिल्कुल ना कोई इंस्पिरेशनल कंटेंट नहीं कंज्यूम करना, डम किस्म का कंटेंट देखना है जस्ट फॉर एंटरटेनमेंट पर्पस. आप बस ये करें, आप थोड़ी देर के लिए ना पाकिस्तान का कंटेंट ना देखें. आप ये करें कि लुक इनटू आई डोंट नो समथिंग एल्स, कोरियन जाके सब टाइटल्स के साथ देख लें, कुछ और देख लें. Add diversity to your way in how you see the world. You will see that it's not just beautiful, it has a lot of value to add, and there's a lot of stuff that you can learn from it. तो ये मेरा थोड़ा सा एक overall I think आपको suggestion होगी, and then obviously with teams and everything as well, but overall bring diversity by design to your life. I think that will help.
I think it is very important to build that learning culture. आप अपना थोड़ा अपने आप को करें, encourage करें to learn things. और जिस तरह अभी साथ आप यही बात कर रहे थे कि हमें बहुत ज़रूरत है प्रायोरिटाइज करने की और ये देखने की कि what is important, what is not important. तो आप क्योंकि इतनी सारी चीज़ें करते हैं and then your role is also I'm sure very challenging. तो आप उसमें खुद अपने आप को किस तरह मोटिवेटेड रखते हैं और आप अगर कभी बर्न आउट हो जाएं या अगर कभी आपको लगे कि you've been working so much, so how do you handle with that and what suggestion would you give to people कि how to deal with that और अपने आप को बर्न आउट से किस तरह बचाएं इतना ज्यादा काम और इतनी सारी सोशली चीजें करने के बाद.
Yeah, burnout is very real. I would to some extent say that I'm sitting here right now, having this very so-called inspirational talk, but in some cases I do feel burned out even at this stage. लेकिन I think ये हमारी generation के लिए या even for the generation after this, burnout is going to be like a very 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 real thing which is always going to stay. So you have to come up with your own mechanisms. And one thing that really helps is again going back to writing down what what is it that you want to do today and what do you not want to do. उससे ये होगा कि आप कहेंगे कि यार अच्छा आज मैंने अगर ये कर लिया ना, these are my biggest battles, I do not need to go into some other battles. So you'll not get burned out. ये उसी तरह जिस तरह मैं आपको बताता हूँ रोज मेरे साथ क्या होता है. I go every day, I have 100 people priority list. उसमें 100 people में क्या हो रहा होता है, पहले मेरे बॉस का मुझे मैसेज आया होगा, फिर मेरे पुराने टास्क पड़े होंगे, फिर मेरे क्लाइंट्स के P0 टास्क P1 होंगे, फिर मेरे लिंक्डइन पे किसी को मैसेज आया होगा. सी देयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ प्रायोरिटीज गोइंग ऑन, बट आई विल डिसाइड कि यार अच्छा मेरी आज की प्रायोरिटी जो है ना वो ये है एंड इसमें मैं ये करूंगा, बाकी मैं नहीं कर सकता. सो आई थिंक दैट्स अ वेरी गुड वे. प्रायोरिटाइजेशन इज वन वे इन विच यू कैन अवॉइड बर्न आउट. यू कैन बी फाइन विद यार अच्छा ये मसला जो मैंने सॉल्व करना है ना ये आज का मसला नहीं है, ये अगर मैं अगले महीने उससे अगले महीने कर. दैट अगेन कम्स डाउन टू डॉक्यूमेंटेशन. अगर आपने कहीं लिखा हुआ नहीं होगा ना बड़े क्लियर वे में, तो यू विल नेवर बी एबल टू डू दैट. मेरे पास तो बहुत क्लियर लिखा हुआ है कि क्या चीज़ है जो मैंने कल करनी है, परसों करनी है, अगले हफ्ते या 2 महीने बाद करनी है. सो प्रायोरिटाइजेशन, managing a calendar, managing a Google Docs, so prioritization. And also seeing what brings joy to your life, what is your small guilty pleasure, something that you like doing which gives you like some time off. Aajkal for me it's gaming. So I go online mein chala jata hu, I do multiplayer gaming. It just gives me a lot of sukoon wala time. It's like I just get disconnected from work and life. थोड़ा बहुत वो कर रहा होता हूँ, I play with my little one, थोड़ा बहुत उसके साथ बैठ गया, family का ये देख लिया. So it I think everyone has their own way, but it's the thing is to acknowledge it. You cannot I think you cannot survive without it, क्योंकि ये होगा, ये जो है ना eventually, and you'll have to develop a muscle for it. कि कुछ चीज़ें आप ट्राई करेंगे वो चलेंगे, कुछ चीज़ें आप ट्राई करेंगे वो नहीं चलेंगे, and eventually you'll know कि what is, how do you balance your work and life. There's no simple or right answer to this. I think that just everyone has their own way of experimenting, but one framework will never work. Always you'll have to come up with everything new कि यार अच्छा चलो अब मेरा ये है, अब मेरा ये है, these kind of things might really help. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Saad. I think बहुत my respect and जितनी आप इतना काम करते हैं वो that increases tenfold after this conversation. आपने जितनी अच्छी तरह से हम सबको गाइड किया है और एक रोड मैप sort of provide किया है, तो और burnt out आपने जिस तरह कहा कि वो तो that's part of life and you just need to deal with it and come up with ways and have other avenues to sort of fulfillment to help yourself. This was very inspirational. I'm so incredibly grateful to you for giving us your time. And I mean, what makes you your favorite Googler of Pakistan is that you're very relatable. And जब भी आप बात करते हैं So your experiences that seems like कि हमारे भी इस तरह की experiences हैं. It's just that hard work gets you a long way. Framework, talking about things and also writing things takes you a long way. So that was very helpful. But on parting note, because I completely understand your time is very important and valuable. तो आप सिर्फ एक piece of advice तो I think आप अगर कोई crux अभी तक के अपने professional experience life journey से अगर किसी हमारे साथ share कर सकें, and what is that one best piece of advice that you would share with tech graduates, people, anyone who's just right now struggling to start their career, to start and to just have that direction. अगर उनके साथ आप please share करें.
यार हाँ, ये अब मैं आपको ना ये बड़ा अच्छा सवाल है। अगर आप मुझसे आज कुछ महीने पहले पूछते ना तो मैं आपको देता बड़ी एक इंस्पिरेशनल सी और पॉजिटिव सी एडवाइस, जो कि मैं अभी भी पॉजिटिव और इंस्पिरेशनल ही दूंगा, बट आई गिव इट थ्रू अ लिटिल बिट ऑफ अ लाइक व्हाट आई वुड कॉल एज अ एग्रेसिव एंड हार्ड लेंस। और वो लेंस ये यार कि दुनिया में ना मैंने लाइक अपने भी इस एक्सपीरियंस में देखा है, और दिस इज व्हाट आई वुड रिकमेंड टू एवरीवन एज वेल। नोबडी, if you look at yourself in the larger scheme of things, so I think nobody's really cares about what you are trying to do or what you want to do except yourself. कहने का बेसिकली ये मकसद है, अगर आपने पुश करना है, कोई चीज़ हासिल करनी है, कोई काम करना है, आप ही को करना पड़ेगा ना। ना आपके लिए कोई नहीं कर सकता, कोई आपको आके डायरेक्शन नहीं देगा, कोई आपके आके प्लेट में चीज़ें नहीं रखेगा, आप ही ने करना है। एंड इट इज़ nobody's job, and don't feel entitled. The world doesn't care about you or about me. The world, on a if you look at it from a larger perspective, cares about their own interests. And in that, if you are like one of the a star in a galaxy, तो आपने अपनी जगह खुद बनानी है। तो अगर आपने चीजें पकड़नी है तो आपको खुद निकलना पड़ेगा, कोई आपको चीज नहीं देगा। यू विल हैव टू रियली रियली फाइट फॉर योर सेल्फ. You might fight 100% and you might get 1%. If you want 100%, you might have to fight 1,000%. तो पॉइंट वही आ जाता है कि you will have to like really really push yourself and really challenge yourself every day if you want to achieve the goals that you want to. And I've seen that at Google. मैं आपको बताता हूँ, recently मैं जिस तरह आपको बता रहा था कि I went through a promotion. I was very happy and got recognition as well. But मैंने यहाँ पे ये देखा है कि at every level people are now thinking कि यार how do we push ourselves beyond this. It's a constant struggle. इस पूरी life के इस journey में ना कहीं कहीं वो सुकून नहीं है कि आप जाके कि अच्छा मैं अब वो पहाड़ी के ऊपर चढ़ गया हूँ एंड अब वो बस अब मैं यहाँ पे अपना कैंप लगा लेता हूँ, फिर आपको पता लगेगा पीछे एक और पहाड़ी है, फिर आप उस पर चढ़ेंगे, फिर आपको पता लगेगा दैट्स व्हाट लाइफ इज. सो एज लॉन्ग एज यू कंफर्टेबल विद दैट कि यार दिस इज नॉट लाइक अ स्प्रिंट, एक दो दिन का जर्नी नहीं है या साल का नहीं, दिस इज लाइक अ मैराथन. देयर ऑलवेज बी, तो पेस योरसेल्फ, push yourself, and try to have people around you who can create this environment for you so you don't get demotivated by चीज़ें जो थोड़ी बहुत आती हैं. जिस तरह अभी आज लाइक माय फैमिली में थोड़ा सा वो वायरल आया हुआ, तो एवरीवनस डाउन बिकॉज ऑफ फीवर. ये वो मुझे भी खुद फील हो रहा है. लेकिन so I told my wife, I was like, okay, it's okay, just take 3 days, prioritize. I literally use the same word. तो उसको गुस्सा भी चढ़ा because I have just a very clear way of saying the same thing again and again. तो मैंने उसको कहा अच्छा बाकी चीजें अपनी छोड़ो, just prioritize health for 3 days. Once you recoup from this, then you can look at other things. So these are things I think overall are my key takeaways for everyone here. Yeah.
थैंक यू सो मच साद. वी ट्राई टू हमने थोड़ी कोशिश करी थी कि हम सबकी लोग जो क्वेरीज पूछते हैं, आपसे अक्सर क्वेश्चंस भी पूछते हैं, हमसे भी पूछते हैं, एंड थिंग्स दैट दे नीड टू इंस्पायर, हमने उसको कंपाइल करके क्वेश्चंस बनाने की कोशिश की थी. एंड आई होपफुली हमने सारे आंसर कर दिए हैं बाय दिस, और आपका भी क्योंकि बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट टाइम है. बट थैंक यू सो मच, दिस वाज इनक्रेडिबल एंड वी आर सो एक्सट्रीमली ग्रेटफुल टू यू फॉर गिविंग अस योर टाइम. And I think thank you for giving us this privilege to talk to someone who works at Google, for validating our inner child. So we're very 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 happy, and thank you so much for your time and all that you do for Pakistan. We're very proud of you, and
Thank you
congratulations
so
for your
much.
promotion.
And thank you so much, and very very again excited and honored to be here, and I hope I was able to add value. और वही मेरी लास्ट बस वही पॉइंट है कि इट डजंट रियली मैटर गूगल है कोई और कंपनी है, जस्ट बस लगे रहें, काम करते रहें, हरकत में बरकत है. वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फ्रेमवर्क दैट आई फॉलो अगेन. So kahin na kahin, somewhere along the way, you should be able to get more success. Wishing everyone here who's on the call, who has learned anything, a lot of success in life. Thank you again, Ikra. Thank you to the Atom Camp team. So wishing you the best of luck. Take care.
Thank you,
Allah
Saad.
Hafiz.
Rooting for you from Pakistan, and all the best for all that you do. I hope you achieve much more success in life. Thank you. Lafis, have a good day. Bye.
Allah Hafiz.
Thank you so much everyone for joining. Thank you so much. आपने हमारे साथ इतना time spend किया और हमें सुना. We try to create such opportunities for people ताकि वो आके सुन सकें, inspire हो सकें, and we plan to create more such opportunities in future as well. Thank you so much. Have a good day, bye everyone. Bye bye. Lafis.